Chair Espinoza, it is now 5:30. All commissioners are present.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good
evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the October 11th, 2023 City of Springfield License Commission meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the Springfield Board License Commission meeting held on Wednesday, September 27th. Did all commissioners have an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any changes, corrections?
No.
No, I didn't see any. Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes for the Springfield Board of License Commission hearing held on Wednesday, September 27, 2023.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. The next item on the agenda is a petition for transfer of license from One Stop Boston Road, Inc. to One Springfield Market, Inc., DBA One Stop Market, located at 469-475 Boston Road. Michael A. Navarro, manager of record. Is there someone here for One Stop?
Yep. Attorney Pilsto Laperto for Mr. Patel. And Mr. Patel is here, and I believe Mr. Navarro is I don't see him on yet. Maybe he's having trouble getting in, but we expect him momentarily if he's not already in.
If you don't see him in, we can just go ahead and move on.
I think he
To the second petition. And then
think he joined in. Michael?
Let me see if he's here. I don't see him. Yeah, go ahead. We'll see if we can get him. He knows.
Chair Espinoza, he is joining now.
He is joining now.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
There he is. Yep. Okay.
Okay. So we did talk about this petition at our last meeting.
Yes.
And what we were looking for was for a new manager of record.
Yep.
Okay.
And we proposed Mr. Navarro.
So okay. Mr. Navarro, how are you?
On mute.
You're on mute.
There you go.
Good, and yourself?
Doing well, thank you. Mr. Navarro, can you tell us what is your experience being the manager of record of a liquor establishment?
So I don't have any experience being the manager on record. I have experience being an assistant manager currently, and helping with the day-to-day operations and making sure that everything runs smoothly, making sure that everything, all the rules are followed, all of the ID, guidelines and liquor laws are being adhered to by all the employees, and just helping out on day-to-day operations.
Okay. Where do you live?
I live at 131 Meadow Street in Westfield, Mass.
Meadow Street. And is this going to be your full-time job?
Correct. I'm going to be
okay. How many hours do you think you'll be at this establishment?
40.
40. What are the hours right now?
Currently, right now, I'm working full-time at 40 hours.
40 hours. But what are the hours that this establishment is going to be open?
Oh, I forget honestly what their hours are here. I'm not.
You open at 8 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
So 8 to 11?
8 to 10.
8 to 10.
8 to 10 p.m. So from 8 to 10 p.m., is your plan to be there 8 to 10 p.m. or what are your hours going to be?
He'll be there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would end up being there as the majority that I can. So, probably the main time up until probably like noon until closing is usually the best times to be there.
Okay. Okay. Are you tip certified, sir?
Yes.
And how many staff will be selling alcohol?
I'm not entirely
Just
sure
one.
how.
Just one.
Just the one.
Just the one?
Yes.
One.
And is that person tip certified as well?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that would be me, you know.
And you are, sir?
The owner, Mayur Kumar Patel.
Okay.
So there's gonna be two people working in the store, Mr. Navarro and you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's only a 14-hour operations
Okay.
for one day,
Okay. And that's 7 days a week.
7 days a week. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Navarro, you do understand that being manager of record is a lot of responsibility. I understand that you're the assistant manager right now, but you know, once you're the manager of record, pretty much all the responsibility falls on you. So if anything happens, if you know, alcohol is sold to a minor or there is an incident, you do know that you are responsible. You will be held responsible. You will have to answer to this board whether you're present or not. Yes, we can't hear you.
Muted.
Sorry, I don't know why I did that. Yes, I do understand that. And we'll, you know, make sure between me and him that, you know, that's definitely not going to be an issue.
Okay, and you accept that responsibility.
Yes, yes.
Okay. You know, the tips certification, you have to make sure that you know that you keep it handy. Both of your tips certification, just in case it's needed, that you can always you know, have it at hand.
Right, yes.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
And
No.
if you hire a new employee, that new employee must be tip certified before you put them behind the register. And you have to keep their certification up to date and in a file.
Okay. Yes. Understood.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I make a motion that we approve the petition for a transfer of license from One Stop Boston Road, Inc. to One Springfield Market, Inc., DBA One Stop Market located at 469, 475 Boston Road. Michael Navarro, manager of record.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Thank you for coming and good luck.
Thank you for all your
Thank
help. Appreciate it.
No problem. The second item on the agenda is a petition for a change of ownership interest. LLC member, the LP partners, trustees, change of officers, directors, LLC managers, change of hours, and change of manager for 301 Bridge LLC DBA Osteria, located at 301 Bridge Street, from Matthew J. Hobney to Lindsay M. Busquet, manager of record.
Good evening.
Who is here for Osteria?
I am Madam Chairwoman. How are you?
I am Bruscat. Hi, everybody.
And under Berman's Food Company LLC, you'll see two people, that is Lindsay and Chris, who I'll be referring to tonight. As you just read, there's several things going on, so I'll just take them as you read them. I think I'll get them in the same order. If you want me to change up, you let me know. The first will be the change of ownership and the change of manager, directors, and members of the LLC. When we first came in front of you for Osteria, which is a very fine Italian restaurant on Bridge Street, if you haven't tried, you're missing out. You should go there.
Thank you.
I can tell you firsthand. I was there last night having dinner. I can tell you that. So Matt Hubney was a 50% owner with Chris McKiernan, who's also on there. Chris is also the owner of the sushi place Barkaya on Worthington Street. If you haven't tried that, you're also missing out. And now with this corporate change, Chris will be the 100% owner. And so Matt's coming off as an owner and he's coming off as a member of the LLC. So that's the first application change in front of you. Moving on to the change of
Dan, so Matt is coming off as an owner Is anybody going on?
No, Chris is going from 50% to 100%.
To Chris. All right. Thank you.
Okay. The next thing in front of you is change of manager. The new manager is Lindsay, who you can see in front of you. As you can see her experience, she worked at Center Square Grill, and she's also worked here since they opened. If you have been in there recently, she's the face. She probably waited on you, or brought you to your seat, or checked in on you while you're eating. She is the kind of the front house face of the establishment. She is tip certified. Everyone there is tip certified, including Lindsay. There are 4 other servers, and she'll make sure that all the tip certifications are kept up to date and kept in a file at the bar for if Springfield PD or yourselves from the commission have to ever come in and have a question, you'll be able to get it right away. Lindsay is there essentially right now every waking hour that they are open. And while this is a change of hours, and I'll get to that last, generally they're open 11 to 10. They are doing lunches. They're closed on Sundays. They don't do lunches on Saturdays. So on Saturdays, they open a little later, like 4, and go to about 10. The next thing I'll talk to you about is a change in hours, but I'll just stick on the Lindsay for right now. Lindsay is there essentially every minute of every day. She understands the responsibility as a manager, having worked in the liquor industry for several years now. She knows she'll be responsible whether she's there or not, although as it stands going forward, she is essentially there all the time. She does the ordering, she does the buying. She's the quality control person in the front of the house. Chris is running the back of the house. So the tip certification, she'll be there the hours, and she's in charge of the other 4 people, including her, who will be alcohol servers. They do have a number of other servers, sometimes waiters or waitresses, I should say, but the alcohol servers are the people that will be tip certified. They'll make sure that the waitresses are tip certified too, but generally the waitresses are just doing the. So that's the presentation on that. Unless there's any questions, I can move to the change of hours.
Go ahead.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, so change of hours. Right now they're allowed to go, I think they're allowed to go to 12 if I'm not mistaken, but I defer to the file on that. They're only open till 10 as a practical matter, but they're able to be open till 12. They're coming in front of you for a number of reasons to ask to push that back to 2. In the short term, their hours will only change slightly. They only intend to be actually open till 2 going forward, should you approve this on Fridays and Saturdays. And one, just to see if that will jump any late night dinner business, and let people linger a little bit who work second shift, and also to try to capitalize what everyone tries to do at some point is capitalize on the industry. Other people that work other servers in other areas could come there and eat when they get off their shift. And they'll see how that goes. And if the market doesn't call for that, then they won't. But that's what they, for example, they could be open till 12 now, and they open till 10. So that's kind of what the market's calling for, and they're trying to feel the market out. And like every small business, like every small restaurant, they're looking to expand their gross revenue greatly. Their immediate competition is down the street. They all have most of them have 2 a.m. openings. 350 and Highbrow come to the top of my mind. Highbrow was recently in front of you for a 2 a.m. expansion, which was granted. When we went to neighborhood council way back when, we billed them as a bar, and this was not a Trojan horse to get some sort of nightclub in. If anyone who's been in there knows, this is clearly not a bar. It's a restaurant. It's a very high-end restaurant, actually. It's a very reasonable prices, but I meant that in terms of what their food is. So this is not a Trojan horse either. This is a Italian high upscale restaurant, but they're hoping to expand their gross revenue in a market that's kind of uncertain right now, still getting back to COVID. Before COVID, being open to 2 a.m. as a restaurant was not that big of a deal. It was pretty normal. Now it's kind of not the norm. So they're trying to see if they can get back to that. In addition to those reasons, there may be some other nights they may want to be open till 2 a.m. and they don't want to come back here. For example, New Year's Eve, night before Thanksgiving's, St. Patrick's Day, things like that. Also, they're really making a big push. If you watch it for social media, they're really making a big push for Christmas parties, which could be a great source of revenue. This is the old Cafe Manhattan. So if you've ever been in Cafe Manhattan, you'll know they have that upstairs area. It's kind of small in the back. It's not huge, but it's enough for a small office to have a nice Christmas or holiday party. So they're trying to really expand on that as well. And that the 2 a.m. will help them not have to for those nights as well. So for all those reasons, we're asking you to look favorably on the 4 things in front of you: the change of ownership, the change of the LLC and the members, the change of the manager, and the change of the hours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Kelly. Any questions from the commissioners?
Lindsay, are you the behind the woman behind the lectern at the door, greeting people as they come in?
Yeah, typically.
good.
I'm all over the place. I'm at the hostess booth. I'm behind the bar. I'm at tables. I'm literally everywhere, zooming around constantly.
We had a birthday in the family this last weekend, and they were going to be at MGM on Friday, and asked for a suggestion of where to go. And I said, well, there's a new Italian restaurant you could go over to Osteria at lunch. So they did. And
Was
then
this with Dan?
what's that?
Was this with Dan?
No, not with Dan.
He wouldn't be caught dead with me.
No.
No,
it
no,
wasn't
not
with
not
Hogan.
this Dan. Oh
No,
gosh, I
Brad.
didn't. Or Brad. Yes,
Brad,
thank
yeah.
you.
And then on Saturday, I said, well, now I'll take you out to dinner. Where do you want to go? And he said, Osteria. I said, you were just there. No, I want to go back. So
I was so happy.
he was there Friday and I was there Saturday. And I have to attest that it was very good.
Thank you so much.
Had a great
Yeah,
time.
I was so happy to see Brad come back for the second day in a
See
row.
him again, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure meeting your acquaintance in
Right.
person as well. Thank you. Oh, that's great. That's what we strive for after all. So
It is what I would hate to see happen is what happened with Adolfo's, where we had a very nice Italian restaurant, which turned into a college bar at 11 o'clock at night. And that, of course, as I predicted, led to an absolute disaster.
Mhm.
So if we're extending your hours to 2,
Mhm.
I hope it is just to attract diners and you don't go down that route, because that is a disaster always.
Not the path that we are looking to take either. We do not want to extend those hours just to have anyone and everyone come in. We're not that desperate for business. It's more just for the environment, holiday parties. Like I said, extending the hours for holidays especially. So, and as Dan mentioned, there are some second shift people who don't have anywhere to go to after work, and sometimes they just want a cocktail and a meal, and there's nothing really open. So it's not just to attract any kind of business. We still hold a certain caliber to this restaurant. There's certain clientele that we do focus on. So it's not just for college partying. We do hold ourselves to a higher standard than that. Yeah, we don't want it to turn into that as well. So
Okay.
So Dan, the officer change is from what to what?
Taking Matt off and replacing all of the other officers' positions that he had with Chris.
All right, so just generally removing.
Right. So the way the ABCC frames it is there's the ownership change, and then also is the when you list it on the Secretary of State's website, that's a separate change for the officers.
All right. Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
not from us at the moment, at least.
Commissioners,
Okay.
you want me to make the motion?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve a change of ownership interest, removing Matt Hubany and replacing him with Chris McKiernan, and a change of officers, removing Matt Hubany and replacing those positions with Chris McKiernan, and a change of hours from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. and a change of manager to Lindsay Busquet.
Yes.
Do I hear it? Do I get it all, Dan?
I think so.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay.
All those,
Commissioner-
all right, call the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Singleton,
Yep.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez,
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Good luck. And
Thank you
for
so
coming.
much. Hope to see everyone's face
See you again.
sooner than later. Take care.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Next item on the agenda is a petition for new pool table license for Cafe and Varieties LLC, DBA Cafe and Varieties, located at 261 Locust Street, Pascasio Reynoso, manager of record. there anyone here for Cafe Variety?
I think he's muted.
You
You're
need to
still
unmute your
muted.
phone. You need to unmute your phone.
You're still muted.
This is not the Artist Cafe, correct?
No,
no.
this is
The
Cafe
pool table.
Variety. Mhm. Did he go away?
No, where did he go?
Should we just move on to the next item?
We can. I
Yeah.
hope he figures it out.
Right. Okay, let's just move on to the next petition until he figures things out. Next item is a petition for a new annual all alcohol restaurant license for Urban Food Brood, LLC Brood, DBA Urban Food Brood, located at 250 Albany Street, Timothy Mason, Manager of Record. Munson, sorry, Manager of Record.
How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for having us here tonight. I also have my other business partners, John Wysocki and Terry Skinner here on Zoom as well. But yeah, we're petitioning for a liquor license within our location. We run a cafe and collaborative food manufacturing space. And we're looking to add a liquor license to our portfolio to kind of diversify some of the revenue we have and offer expanded things for our guests.
So I have never been to your establishment. Can you explain a little bit, you know,
Is it
about your
open?
establishment?
Is it open already, Tim, and running? Like, can we go in and see it without the alcohol?
Absolutely. So you can come
Good.
into the Urban Food Brood right now. We're open Tuesday through Saturday. We're serving coffee and pastries, along with food products from 6 other businesses that operate in the facility there. We have a central cafe, so you would come in, order like you normally do at a normal coffee shop or cafe. And we have seating there as well. And yeah, food manufacturing on the outside. We roast coffee there. We have a baker, a freeze-dried business, and a few other things.
So we're going to walk in to this room. This, I have to say, 21 years, and this is one of the weirdest applications I've ever read. So we're going to walk into this room, and there are tables, and at the edge of the room, we gather the food we want. Is that correct? Is this like a cafeteria with a tray?
Not quite. So think of it more as like a coffee shop with a grocery store on the outskirts. So you can get a coffee, you can get a sandwich, but you can also take home some meat, some vegetables, some goodies, everything you need for dinner all in one place. Or you can just come and meet a friend, have a coffee, catch up with them, maybe have a meeting, do some studying. It's a little bit.
We're gonna get prepared food, and we're gonna sit down and enjoy that food.
Absolutely. And when you're done, I hope you'll bring home, a steak and some vegetables and some bread to make dinner at home.
You forgot the monsoon coffee.
Well, that's kind of a given.
Yeah. Okay. So you're the coffee roaster.
Absolutely.
Harry is the baker.
Right.
And then your other partner, I don't.
Yep, John. John's an urban farmer there, so he has a greenhouse.
Okay.
And he grows hydroponic greens as well, amongst a lot of other things around the property.
And we can also get a cocktail there if we approve your all alcohol restaurant license.
Correct. Yeah.
And the hours you're requesting are 8 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Correct.
That's 7 days a week.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
What were those hours again, Peter?
8 to 11.
Or 11. Okay.
I already gave him I grilled him once already outside of planning board. I said, you gotta come out in the hallway and explain this to me because I do not understand it.
It's a confusing concept until you come see it in person. It's almost like a business incubator wrapped up in a cafe. We're giving small food producers a space to get started or expand their brands and develop new ways to kind of operate together, collaborate.
Definitely we'll have to stop by to see what the operation looks like. Definitely. Are there any questions from the commissioners?
So Tim is going to be the manager of record.
Correct.
Right.
So you want to ask?
Okay, so Tim, and you are TIP certified?
Yes, that's correct.
You are. Okay, and do you have any experience managing a location that has a liquor license, alcohol license?
So I've worked in many restaurants as a server and front of house manager, dealing with alcohol. This would be my first venture holding the license in my own name. Terry, who is one of my other partners, holds a license in her name downtown at Nosh, and so I'm been kind of referring to her guidance as we move along in this process and to make sure that we're doing all the right things. John also has a couple decades worth of bartending experience. So between the three of us, I believe we'll be able to help sufficiently train the staff, make sure they're tip certified, and that we're safely serving alcohol.
Okay. You do know that the young crowd do get a little creative when it comes to IDs.
Totally.
And
yeah. I was definitely young at a time too.
when in doubt, just don't sell.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little different, and I'm pretty sure Terry's told you how you will be, and you heard me mention it to someone else, that you will be responsible for anything that happens in the establishment, whether you are there or not. Now are you there? How many hours a day are you there? Are you there from open to close?
I'm currently
how many hours?
Currently there, I'm there pretty much open to close. I step in and out throughout the day once or twice. I try to be on premise pretty much open to close every single day. And the only way that would change is if I have another manager in place that was adequately trained.
Okay. Where do you live?
1590 Wilbraham Road in Springfield here.
Okay. Are there any questions? Other questions from the commissioners?
No.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to approve the petition for a new annual all alcohol restaurant license for Urban Food Brewed LLC DBA Urban Food Brewed, located at 250 Albany Street. Timothy Munson, manager of record.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Good luck, and you will be seeing me sometime very soon because I have to see them.
Have to see it.
Please come get a coffee. Thank
I
you.
will. Thank you. Good luck. Okay, we can go back to the cafe and varieties. You're still muted. We can't hear you.
What about now?
Yay!
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, thanks, sorry.
It's okay. And are you Mr. Pascasio?
Yeah, I am.
You are?
Yes, I am.
You are. Okay. So you are petitioning for a new pool table license for Cafe and Variety.
Yep.
Okay. Can you tell us what is this looking like? What does it look like?
Okay, we have a grocery store and we have many years around the Locust Street, and so many people ask me for something new, and that's why we try to bring something that for the community.
Okay. So how many pool tables are you planning to have in your space?
To
2.
Mhm.
Okay.
This is a cafe where I can get a coffee or something and sit at a table.
Yeah, there are 4 tables.
4 tables.
You can get coffee, sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Okay. And a grocery store.
Correct.
Okay. And now people have been asking you, have they been asking you for a pool table, or do you just?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they ask me.
Okay. A little bit
Okay.
of everything. Groceries, sandwiches, pool.
Right. You can stay a little longer. Okay. Any questions from the commission?
What are the hours of this establishment?
It's 10 to 8.
10 to 8 p.m.
Correct.
Okay.
And
So,
you plan on keeping the same hours?
Yeah.
So just because you have, let's say you have the license for the pool table, you're going to still close at 8 p.m.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
do you have a common vic license from the License Commission to sell food already?
No, yeah, we
Oh.
work on that.
Okay.
We
Okay.
waiting.
All right. So I guess when they apply for the common vic, the license should specify 10 to 8 p.m. and this pool table license will go along with it, but we don't have that common vic request before us right now. So maybe we should say, approve the pool table with a 10 to 8 hours on it. That makes sense? We haven't heard a pool table license in a long time.
Right. My first time.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
No.
Okay, so we can go ahead, Attorney Powell, we can go ahead and Attorney Peter, Commissioner Singleton suggests that we can just approve the pool table from 10 to 8 p.m. until they apply for the common vic?
That is correct.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to approve the petition for a new pool table license for Cafe and Variety LLC, DBA Cafe and Variety located at 261 Locust Street, Pascasio Reynoso, manager of record, and that is to just approve the pool table license from the hours of 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, good luck. And thank you for
Thanks.
coming.
Everyone, good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Next item is a petition for a new annual all alcohol restaurant license for the Artist Cafe LLC, DBA The Artist Cafe located at 1365 Main Street, Suite 110, David Menard, manager of record.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. So from the Artist Cafe, we have myself and also Sasha Harris, who's coming from the cafe. So the Artist Cafe, if you haven't been by, I'll describe it quite briefly for you. Just think of a Starbucks and an art space / museum and mash them together. So we have a traditional cafe. We have a community kind of focus whereby the guy from Tim Munson from Monsoon Coffee Roasters, they actually provide our coffee. We have bagels from Benson Bagels. We have honey from Ludlow. So you kind of get the gist of the idea that we have a very kind of local community cafe where we get all of our supplies from local vendors if we can. That's the coffee arts part of it. The art part of it, we do art exhibitions at the cafe about once a month for local artists, both visual painters or photographers. We have space for about 16 to 20 prints on the wall. We get prints made from Minutemen Press, which is right next door to us, and we put the prints on the wall and have an art exhibition to give local artists a kind of exposure. So, and gives the local community something to do that's a little bit different and art related. On Friday nights, we have music nights where we team with the community music school. On the first Friday nights, they send over musicians, and we have live music that people come and enjoy. Have poetry nights on second Fridays, so you can kind of get the flavor that is kind of a really art dedicated space aside from the coffee house. During those art exhibitions and music nights, currently we had been operating on one-day liquor licenses, but under some advisement from the licensing commission, that's not really how the one-day licenses were designed to work. So they asked us to get a full liquor license so that we could continue basically doing the same things. So our thought process now, the hours under great advisement from Commissioner Signator, we changed it. We could do the petition is for 12 noon to 12 midnight, even though we are still keeping our current event hours as Friday evenings, and typically our exhibitions are Saturday evenings. But we wanted to get flexibility so that if we had an art exhibit that say, was on a Monday evening from 6 to 8, we could do that without any type of issue. So with that, I will open up to any questions that you might have on the petition. I am the manager on record. I've been SIP certified, and we've been having a great time. So we would invite everybody to the cafe. Our 1-year anniversary is actually Friday evening. So there's a poetry night where I have unfortunately committed myself to doing poetry. So, matter of fact, you might not want to come this Friday. You might want to skip that. But it's a good time. It's a good time in the city, and we do a lot of great things for our local artists, our local people. We also have community discussions that we have that deal with city issues as well. Typically during the daytime, and we definitely would not serve alcohol during those discussions, but just so you know, that's something else that we do at our cafe.
Great. So like you mentioned, I know that you have been had been requesting 1-day licenses. So obviously, all the questions that we have in terms of being tip certified and being responsible for anything that happens. Don't recall any incidents happening for this past year. Are there any questions from the commissioners?
Just I wanted to mention. So we only serve alcohol on Friday evenings and during events, and that will continue to be the same. It's not our petition isn't designed so that we would serve alcohol during the daytime at all.
Okay, that's different.
Now, David, I stopped in yesterday, and it was 3 o'clock, and I was told we're closing, and I just wanted to see what the place looked like. Shame on me it's right across the street from me, so I just walk there anytime. But that was the first time I had been in there, and it is very small. Do you know what your occupancy is in there?
49 individuals seated.
49, yeah. And so we had a discussion again after planning board in the hallway, and I recommended that they standardize their hours and not limit themselves so that, you know, if they have to want to do a function on a Monday, or they want to do a brunch on a Sunday, they have the ability to do that and not have to come back and request an hour's change or a one-day license or something like that. But normally you're going to keep pretty much to these hours that you're currently having. Is that correct? Other than an unusual, a special event?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if I walk over there, it's still going to be closing at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday?
That's correct. Unless there's a special event Tuesday evening, you know, unless you want to do, you know, a book, you know, a recital of Pete, and, you know, during that book recital, we could book out the cafe from 6 to 8, and if people wanted to come and have a glass of wine while you read your book, then, you know, it would give us the opportunity to do so.
I don't think that many people would be showing up for that. Same as for your poetry reading, I think.
Indeed.
Right.
I just wanted to just say that when I first saw the petition, I was wondering, David, why you were not going to have extended hours. So it was great that Commissioner Signature got to you, because that was my number one question. But when you extend the hours out to, you know, Monday right through the weekend with that extended hour to at least 12 midnight. But I just wanted to concur with you. I think it's a great community space for artists who are trying to get their work out and get it exposed. I've gone to several of the art showcases that you've had. It's been very, very nice. I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Great. Anything?
And you did reach out to the neighborhood council, and we did hear from Betsy Johnson approving the hours change to midnight.
That's correct.
You got that email?
Yep.
I was just gonna say, I was looking for the letter. I know I did print the letter, but I don't have it. So thank you, Peter.
Yep.
Okay, if we don't have any other questions or concerns, I would like to make a motion to approve the petition for a new annual all alcohol restaurant license for the Artist Cafe LLC, DBA The Artist Cafe, located at 1365 Main Street, Suite 110. David Menard, manager of record.
Second. I will second that with, I don't often give out one of these. It's very rarely, but because unfortunately we don't hear license applications like this very often, but I will say that this one is a no-brainer.
Thank you.
Second the motion with it. Congratulations. I think this is an excellent idea.
Commissioner Kane?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Good luck. And
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is an informational hearing for Springfield Liquor Mart, located at 1785 Allen Street. Jerome Francis, manager of record. This is an incident of August 8th, 2023, sale of alcoholic beverages to intoxicated person. Is Mr. Jerome Francis?
I'm here.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Can you turn your video on, please?
How?
You say you don't know how?
I thought it was on. Sorry, Peter and both and the girl. I've done this before.
You have a black screen right now.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. Attorney Paul?
As the commission may recall, this petition issued based on a private complaint from a gentleman who had written a letter to the licensing commission claiming that his wife had been served at the Springfield Liquor Mart multiple times and had gone to the hospital. That was the, while she was being served, while she was already intoxicated, and had ended up in the hospital on multiple occasions. That was the basis of us bringing this matter to an informational hearing so that we could gather additional information about what's going on.
Okay. Mr. Jerome, are you aware of this particular incident?
No, only from the letter that I received from the commission. But
Okay.
yeah.
So this particular
I am aware of what's going on because I believe the complainant his last name is Burns. If it's not, then correct me if I'm wrong, but anytime she's coming to that store, and believe she hasn't been in the store in months, but we talked to her husband, and we hadn't served her in, I don't know, I don't even know if she was there on the 8th. It's too late to go back and look at cameras right now, but she is not allowed in the store. All my employees know who she is. They wouldn't serve her. I've talked to a couple of my employees that have been there. One of them's been there for longer than I have, probably 40 years, Ann Burnell, and she swears that she's never served this lady. And since the husband came in and asked us not to serve her, we have not served her at all. So I don't know. I don't have camera on it. I don't have a receipt to show she was at our store. I don't have a time of offense. But I've been involved in this store for 35, 40 years almost now, and I think I run a pretty tight ship. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but anything like this upsets me. Any kind of violation like this upsets me. And my employees are all tip certified. Because of this letter, they're all being recertified. And any new employees have a 3-week window where they're just observing until they take the tips course and pass it. They don't touch registers. So there's signs everywhere that says, please show ID, please have ID ready for cashier. So I don't know how this happened. I'm not saying it didn't, but I'd like to see a little more proof, maybe a receipt, time of day, description of my clerk. A few other things would be helpful. But,
well, unfortunately, we don't have any of that, of that information.
Correct.
Either. We just simply received the letter. And that's why we're here. This is just an informational hearing. We wanted to let you know that this complaint came in.
We are aware of who the customer is.
Okay, so and as long as I've been on this commission, I don't think I've ever had the store come in at any point for any issues.
Peter's known me for a long time, and I've been doing this for, I've been involved in liquor stores since I was probably 15, 16 years. I've never seen any a violation such as this in all my years. So I know they exist, but it's never happened to us.
So you know who this customer is then, Jerry?
I do, Peter, yes.
And she's been trespassed, or at least told she's not allowed in the store. And
correct.
If you had a new clerk, do you have like a picture of this?
We have a picture of her, yeah.
Oh, all right.
I mean, I've had a couple employees that have been there for numerous years, so they know exactly who she is. And we do have a picture of her, and we make everyone now at this point show an ID. So if Kathy Burns shows up with an ID, she will not be served.
It was there were very few details in that email, and it was unclear to me.
Well, we've dealt, in all honesty, we've dealt with the husband on a couple of times where we weren't, and there was a couple of times where she wasn't even at our store. He just assumed she was at our store. I don't want to go into detail on her.
No.
But it's, I guess she's got an issue. So
it was unclear whether he didn't say that she went to the store intoxicated. Correct. He said that she became intoxicated after purchasing at the store. So it was
In
unclear.
all honesty, without not sorry to interrupt you, but that was going to be my other thing. How do we know she comes in the store and she's sober, and then drinks a pint or whatever before she gets home, and when she gets home she's not sober? So I mean, it's a fine line, but my employees are trained not to serve anybody that looks or any symptoms of being intoxicated.
Right.
Well, it's enlightening to know that the store knows who this customer is,
Yes.
and they're all told that she can't be served there. So I think that's a big revelation.
Right. Right.
Well, as soon as I mentioned this violation to a couple of my employees, they knew exactly who the lady was. So, and they're the ones that told me.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So as I mentioned, this is an informational hearing. I just wanted to bring it to your attention just in case you weren't aware of it. And I mean, all I can say is keep up the good work.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. And I don't know if my video ever worked, but you guys know what I like. It did. All right. You don't need to see. You don't need to see my. Anyways, yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Jerry.
Good night.
Appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is a pre-hearing conference for Lusuk Hookah, DBA Lusuk Hookah, located at 1 Worthington Street, Genesis Pujo, manager of record, incident of September 3rd, 2023. Number one is a violation of City of Springfield Rules and Regulations, Section 2.06, subsection D, employee not aware of regulations allowing police officers and to enter licensed premise for inspection without a warrant. Number two is a violation of security plan, failure to enforce strict dress code. Number three is a violation of security plan, failure to call police in a timely manner. Number four, violation of City of Springfield Rules and Regulations, Section 2.17, subsection M, failure to notify the Springfield Police Department immediately of a disturbance upon the licensed premises. And number five, hindering police investigation by providing misleading statements to officers. Attorney Paul.
Good evening, commissioners. This is a pre-hearing conference for an incident occurring on September 3rd of 2023. As an initial statement, I just want to make sure that everyone knew that the body wearable cameras of the officers, as well as the video, was made available to the licensee to view in the license commissioner's office, and for commissioners to review as well. So that evidence has been made available to the commissioners and the licensee as well. Tonight, what we are going to proceed forward with is the violations, and I would just ask a few questions of Officer Delameyer as we go forward with the so Officer Delameyer, you wrote the report in this case?
Yes, sir.
And the report that you were actually on scene on September 3rd of 2023, correct?
I was not on scene the day this happened.
Okay. Can the officers who were on scene, who were the officers who were on scene?
There were numerous officers dispatched to the large disturbance. The officers that you observed in the body-worn camera footage would be Lieutenant Randolph, and the officer would be Officer Damar Duncanson.
And Officer Delameyer, you had an opportunity to review the video footage of this incident?
I did.
And can you provide to the commission what you saw in those videos?
Well, I'll start with the body-worn camera that I think everyone's had a chance to see. You see the officer walk up on the outside. You can hear, they even comment, you can hear glass being swept up from coming inside Lusuk. The police supervisors met at the door by a male who is identified as the DJ, who berates him, calls him a racial term, tells him that he's the only problem there, tells him to shut the F up. It kind of, from there's another male who's seen throughout the body-worn camera footage with the owner and manager of record, who insists that they have a warrant to enter the premise, tells them they can't go in without a warrant. Clearly, that's not the case. It's a licensed premise. As an employee, he should know that. This same male is clearly an employee. At some point, he's seen on body-worn camera asking the DJ if he got paid. He's also standing with the manager and owner the entire time, and they never ask him, who are you? Why are you here? Why are you talking on our behalf? Clearly, he's an employee. He's running that place. So that's the body-worn camera. Then we got footage from not only inside La Soupe, but also from exterior cameras on Main Street. And I mean, you can follow the timeline from those cameras. In essence, you really can't dispute the facts. At 8:49, you can see a verbal argument start inside La Soupe on the patio. At 8:51, that argument turns physical, and there's a large fight inside that starts on the patio and then proceeds through the doorway into the main interior of La Soupe. Exterior footage shows at 8:52, one group of males leave. They walk towards Main Street. A minute later, they're followed by another male who has no shirt on, and he's bleeding from his face and head. This is the male who later showed up at the hospital that had been assaulted. He told detectives he was hit in the head with a bottle inside La Soupe when the large fight started. At 8:54 is when the first call, 8:54 and 30 seconds, there was a call made from Genesis, the manager, to police. That's 3 minutes after the fight started, 5 minutes after the argument started. And when she calls the police, she says, "Who does 3 people are fighting?" If you've all seen the video, it's clear that 2 or 3 people are not fighting. That's far from the truth. The security plan for La Soupe states they call in a timely manner. The rules and regulations say they notify the police immediately, and clearly waiting 3 minutes until some of the combatants have already left is not acceptable. At 8:56, the video shows shots fired on Worthington Street. One male is shot. He ends up at the hospital. The other male, who had been assaulted inside with a bottle and his face sliced open, also went to the hospital. Of course, the victims are all uncooperative for the most part. The employees repeatedly tell the officers in the videos that you watch that nothing happened inside. And the manager and owner are standing right there while this male says it. And it's the same exact location where this guy is hit in the head with a bottle. I would refer you to the video. It doesn't lie. The timeline is exactly what the report says based on their video and the video from 1550 Main Street. And, in essence, I think everything you need to see or know, you can see in that video.
And Officer Dellamare, and I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry, Barry, but I wanted to be as official as possible. Am I saying your last name right?
Yes, you are, sir.
Officer Dellamare, you reviewed the body wearable cameras. Officer Duncan?
Yeah. Duncanson.
Duncanson, Officer Randolph?
Lieutenant Randolph, correct.
Lieutenant Randolph. And you also reviewed the videos provided by La Soupe?
Yes.
And there were multiple camera angles on those videos. Is that correct?
Correct, there were.
All right. And you also reviewed the videos from 1550 Main Street and 1500 Main Street. Is that also correct?
I believe it was 1550 Main Street, the old federal building.
Okay. Now, there was a time difference in the video. I believe the La Soupe video was 8 minutes behind time, but were you able to marry the timeline or get the timeline correct?
So we have our detective bureau has a detective, John Corey, who goes and actually retrieves the video. There's also a civilian, Michael Riggins, that assists him. So when they go retrieve video, they always check the timestamp that's on the machine. And they'll note what if it's correct or not. And the way they do that is with their department issued iPhone. So the 1550 Main Street was accurate. It was the exact time. The La Soupe video, I believe, was 8 minutes behind, or I believe it was behind. I don't have the report in front of me, but it was 8 minutes off. So not only that, when you're watching the two videos, the 1550, you can see the shooting happen at 8:56, and on the interior footage from La Soupe at, I believe it was 8:48, being 8 minutes off, you can see people run away from the patio, away from Worthington Street. So presumably that's the exact time that the shots were fired on Worthington Street.
Now, officer, with regards to hindering a police investigation, can you speak more about exactly what was told to the officers when they came into La Soupe?
So from watching the body-worn camera footage of the lieutenant and officer that went in there, they were repeatedly told that nothing happened inside. And clearly from the evidence, there was glass all over the place. There was also blood that they photographed inside. And after a period of time, I think they finally somewhat admitted it, but for the first few minutes they're there, they were adamant that nothing happened inside.
Now, were officers granted immediate access to La Soupe?
I wouldn't call it immediate. There was that male who Genesis says is not an employee, who questioned them at the doorway, asking if they had a warrant and telling them they needed a warrant to go inside. And clearly our rules and regulations, and any licensee should know this, that any agent of the commission's allowed access to the licensed establishment for inspection at any time without a warrant.
And officer, did you have an opportunity to review their security plan?
I did. I requested a copy of their security plan. I also found a different copy, and I noted that in my report as well.
And with regards to violating the dress code of their security plan, what were you able to notice the difference between what was in the plan and what you saw that on what was seen that night?
I believe it said, among other things, no hats. I don't recall off the top of my head. There were several. I mean, the employees themselves were wearing baseball hats. The male who stood next to them the entire time, asking questions of the officers and saying nothing happened, was wearing a baseball hat. If you want, I can refer to my full report to get the exact details. I have it here.
I have your report as well. Are you certain which security plan was in effect that night?
So I did note that both. I'll actually, if it's okay, I'll find it in my report, and I can, if you'd like, I can read the whole paragraph.
If you can find it, I know there was a security plan from 2019, and
Correct.
then there was a second undated security plan. I'm just not sure which plan they were using.
Okay, so and to be honest, I don't know, because I requested a copy. I was given one copy. I later located a different copy. I did note, however, that both copies were largely the same. They had a few exceptions, and the exceptions in the two different security plans was dealt with the time that the doors closed. One of them said 1 a.m., one said 1:15. The requirement to hire police officers. One plan says Friday and Saturday nights. The other one states on busier evenings. And then the wording on when patrons act violent. One plan states staff will immediately address the situation and call the police, and the other plan stated management or staff will call the police. Both of the security plans stated a strict dress code will be in effect. No hooded sweatshirts or other baggy type of clothing will be allowed. We will require shoes, no sneakers, no sports gear, and no hats. And clearly in the video, there were hooded sweatshirts, there were sneakers, there were sports gear, and there were hats. So everything it said there wouldn't be, there was.
Officer, with regards to violation of section 2.17, section M, failure to notify the Springfield police immediately of a disturbance, were you able to view in the video a disturbance inside of LaSupe?
Yes.
Do you recall when that disturbance was reported to the police?
The first call was initiated at 8:54 and 30 seconds.
And that was initiated by Ms. Pujols?
Correct.
Okay. And then did you have a CAD sheet as to exactly what she reported?
Yes, there was a call for service. And in the call, I believe, again, I'll pull that out so it's exact. Just give me a second.
I think you had testified earlier that she had reported that two people were fighting.
Correct. And right now, I'm looking at the first narrative entered. Weapons, blackmail, white shirt. Now they are shooting, and that was entered at 8:56, which coincides with what the video shows.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, officer?
No, that's basically it. I mean, the video and the timeline are what they are. I mean, they really can't be disputed.
Thank you very much. Chair, I will yield back to you.
Genesis. Basically, so Attorney Paul, you want me to talk to Genesis right now?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, so Genesis, you did review the videos, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You did review the videos?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you heard what Officer Delamarty said?
Yes. So in regards to me not calling on time and calling 3 minutes early, I was actually inside, so I was aware only of what was happening inside of the establishment. So I was by the register when everything started. I saw the altercation between two male guys. That's when I called the police. When I was on the phone with the police, one of my servers, she came up to me and she told me, Genesis, I was just notified that they're shooting outside. Outside meaning in the street, not in the patio. And I reported that also in the phone call. Now, I did not report that there was a fight outside because I wasn't aware of it. It wasn't that I was not trying to share any information, because if that was the case, I wouldn't have called in the beginning to report what was going on to the police. This guy that was standing next to me, he's a family friend. He's not an employee. Yes, he was there. He was helping throughout the night. I don't know why he was asking for a warrant to go inside. In my understanding, the person they should talk to is me. So I don't even know whether we're talking to him or any of the DJs.
But you did see in the video that you were standing next to
Yes.
this gentleman and the police,
Yes.
but you didn't clarify that it was okay for the police to come in.
I mean, I don't recall being there when he asked for a warrant. He was the one that called me, oh, the police wants to talk to you, because I was all the way by the register. And that's when I walked towards the police and then I started talking to them. I didn't even see that part in the video either.
Okay.
Why would someone who is a family friend be representing themselves in an authoritative role at the door of your establishment after this disturbance?
So I wasn't even aware that he was doing this until I walked towards the police officer. And I called him out for that because he's not even an employee. So I don't know why he was even talking to the police.
Okay.
When did you do that?
After everything happened, I spoke to him. Also, the police officer or the lieutenant that was there, he was trying to say that we were trying to hide evidence. We weren't trying to hide anything. We were trying to clean up the mess that was there. As you know, we sell bottles. That's something that as much as we try, we cannot, basically like not let it happen, It was very unfortunate what happened. And honestly, I don't even know, I had 8 security guards that night. And we did the best we could.
So if I can go back, you said that you saw 2 male arguing, and that's when you called the police.
Yes, but that was inside the establishment, but where the DJ's booth is. So when I saw that, that's when I called the police. I didn't know that anything was going on outside. Anything was going on outside.
Okay. But I think that although 2 people were arguing, it was bigger than 2 people.
Yes, there was because the crowd usually goes towards where the DJ is. So there is a door, the double door is right there. So I guess when everything started, people started walking out to the patio. And I'm guessing that's when the altercation outside, which I call outside, but it's the patio, happened. And when they say that nothing happened inside, they mean like inside the establishment, not the patio. Because we call the patio outside.
I'm sorry, you call the patio what?
Outside. So when they said nothing happened inside, they meant that it happened outside in the patio.
But according to the video, something happened outside, but something was happening inside as well.
So yes, so when I made the call, there was like an argument between 2 guys. They probably like, went in it with each other. I called the police right away when I saw what was going on. Everybody started like exiting through the double doors. And I guess that's when the altercation outside started. Because Officer Delamere said that it happened 3 minutes after I made the phone call. So I was on the phone with the police making the report about the altercation inside of the premises when everything started happening outside in the patio. They had me on the phone probably for like 5 minutes asking me what these individuals were wearing, if anybody was hurt, to call the ambulance if I saw anybody that was hurt. At the moment, I didn't see anybody hurt. I was inside, like I said. I couldn't see anything past where I was because the register is towards the right side and everything was going on towards the left side.
Okay. How many securities do you have?
I had 8 securities.
8?
Yeah.
Any of them were outside in the patio?
Yes. I had 2 securities that were by the entrance.
Outside?
Yes. Outside we have an entrance in the patio. That's where people were coming in through that day.
And these 2 security did not see the altercation that was going on outside?
I don't know Honestly, I don't know what happened there. That they didn't notify me about anything happening towards the end of the patio where everything was going on. But at the moment, I was just aware about what was going inside.
Okay. When I did see in the video that when the police were there, they were cleaning up the glass.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they were very hesitant to admit that something had happened there at that moment.
What do you mean?
When the glass, they were sweeping up the glass and there was
Mm-hmm.
obviously glass and blood.
I told them to stop sweeping when they said that they needed to have everything the way that it was. I guess they were trying to get evidence or something. And I did inform the people that were inside to stop cleaning and leave everything as is until the police were done doing their job. Because they were just picking up the trash from the party and stuff. So he took it as we were trying, I guess, to like hide evidence, because he was like, oh, I know what you're doing. I'm like, they're just trying to clean. They're doing their job. But if you guys need, and this stay like this, then I told Josh to stop cleaning.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners?
Genesis, what is the capacity of your establishment?
165.
Okay, thank you.
165, 165.
Yes, sir.
Is
that outside and inside?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the capacity inside without the patio?
Inside is 165. The one for the patio, I'm not sure. Virginia, I don't know if you have that on paper.
I don't have that paper on me right now. But I believe like the outside and inside is like up like 180 something.
What could we go over this time on the camera again? So I was looking at the video, the LeSuc video from inside, and I believe the camera time I noted when the argument started, and it was 8:42. Barry, are you saying that time wasn't right, or is that the right time? Because the call for service was at 8:54, so that would have been 12 minutes later.
Right. So it's 8 minutes off. The LeSuc camera is 8 minutes off, and the verbal argument on theirs would have been 8:41. So it was actually 8:49. The large physical fight starts at actually 8:51. On theirs, it would have been 8 minutes before that. I believe 8:43.
Yes. Yeah, I saw.
She called the police at 8:54. It was 3 minutes after the fight started. I think she's confused because she didn't say what I said. It's 3 minutes after the fight started.
Yeah.
I mean, the verbal argument starts 5 minutes before she calls. The fight starts 3 minutes before, and people have already left at that point, including a guy bleeding from his head. And there's no mention of someone being hit with a bottle. And that did not happen on the patio. That happened right inside the door by the DJ booth, as you saw in the video. So to say nothing happened on the inside is still false. The video clearly shows that disturbance. And remember, the patio is part of their licensed premise, regardless. But it ended up inside LeSuc.
What I saw,
the DJ booth, the guy gets hit with a bottle. You can see on the video, as you all did.
So what I saw, it was in the patio that I saw him getting hit. If I'm not mistaken.
Are you saying that you saw him get hit?
No, in the videos that I saw today, I saw him by the door, the exiting door in the patio. That's where I saw somebody grabbing something and hitting him. Not inside of the premises.
That's part of your premises, though.
That's
I
part of your
mean, yes,
premises.
but I mean like inside the building, not the patio.
How is that relevant?
You do
The patio for me is outside.
but you're
The
still
premises, the
responsible.
building is inside.
No, you're responsible, whether it's on the patio or inside.
I'm not saying otherwise. I'm just
Okay.
saying that where I saw the guy getting hit was in the patio, not inside of the building.
She's confused because I had to explain to her that the patio is also technically inside. That's part of the premises. I had to explain that to her. So she was just confused, thinking that the patio is like something separate. So I had to explain to her that the patio is technically still part of the souk.
So Genesis, so you're still not understanding that part, that although the patio is located outside of the building, is still part of your establishment.
No, I don't understand. I'm just answering to what Officer Delamar said, that I'm still saying basically that I'm lying, or not saying it like that I'm giving a false statement, because the individual got hit by the DJ booth, and I'm just saying that I saw that the guy got hit in the patio when I was watching the videos. Maybe I missed the part where I don't know. But like I said, I reported what I saw, and there was no need for me to lie or say anything, in the contrary, because I was already making the report. So I don't understand why would I lie about what was going on if at the end of the day the police was gonna still show up.
So I saw a very, very, very crowded area wherever I was watching this video from, the Lasuk video. And you said you had 8 security people on. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And were any of them in this area where this camera was focused?
No, until the end. Yes.
Well, until the end after everybody had left?
Until the end when they were taking everybody out.
Okay.
So it was a little before the time the shooting started in the street.
Because that argument went on for quite a while I was watching the video. It was men arguing with each other, which escalated to the point where fists were thrown. Somebody's head was bashed with a bottle of some sort. And then it seemed like an endless stream of people coming through this door and just being thrown outside. One thing we tell all of our licensees, and it's common sense to most of them, is that if you have 2 people fighting, you don't throw them both outside, because they're going to continue to fight outside. You should keep one inside and throw the other one outside until the one outside has left the area. Then you let the other one go. But the method that seemed to be employed here was that everybody was just being thrown outside. And that only leads to bigger trouble right outside if they're all arguing outside. So that was not a good idea.
Is there anything else, Genesis, that you like to for us to hear?
Basically I spoke to the officer when I heard that they said that this guy was asking for a warrant. Me and the owner, Virginia, we walked up to him and we told him, we apologize. You guys can come in and watch the footage whenever you guys want. You can even view it right now if you guys want to. I made the call to report whatever it was that I saw. The police arrived probably like 5 minutes later after I made the call. And I don't know. I don't know what I was,
I was trying
supposed to do to avoid what happened. Like, I feel like this situation was out of my hands, out of, the security's hands. it was very unfortunate.
And I did tell the security, like I did go to the police officers, one of them talking, and they said something about a warrant. They were on the other side of the patio, so I did go outside and cross the street and asked them. I said, "Hey, do you guys want to see the security videos? Because I heard one of the officers talking about a warrant." He proceeded to tell me, you know, that there was a male in there, which later I found out it was Chris. And I was like, unless you spoke to me or personally, I don't mind you guys going in there. You don't need a warrant to get the kid. That's not an employee of ours. He's just a family friend. Like, you guys shouldn't have even been talking to him because he's not even employed. He's just a patron in the establishment. So I tried to cooperate with them as much as I could, and I did tell them that they were allowed to take the cameras that same night.
Genesis, why deviate from your security plan? Did you have knowledge of that security plan? Did you look at it when you became the manager of record, or before that, to you know, familiarize yourself with what the security plan read?
Can you repeat that? Sorry, it's cutting off.
The security plan. I wanted to know, why did you deviate from it? Why didn't you follow the security plan? Did you read that security plan at the time that you became the manager of record, or prior to becoming the manager of record, to familiarize yourself with it?
Yes, I did.
So why didn't you keep the security plan? I mean, it just like Officer De La Marta said, you know, your plan says no hats, no sports outfits, no sneakers, and obviously just about everybody, except for the young ladies, just about everyone was wearing some type of you know, sports outfit or hats or sneakers and things like that.
So yes, that was completely my bad, you know. I didn't really enforce it that day because it was a day brunch. It was supposed to be from 4 to 9. So that's why I didn't really think about it.
But you know, you're violating your own security plan when you do that. Okay, and this is the only time this has happened. Prior to that, you have kept to the security plan. Okay.
Yeah, this is well, while I've been on the liquor license, the only issue, I'm not aware of any other issues happening before that at the establishment.
What was special about this night that anybody could wear whatever they wanted?
It was a theme brunch. The people that we do like the brunches with, like we've had like Barbie brunches, 90s theme brunches. So like every brunch that we had, it was a like a certain theme.
And what was this theme?
I believe it was like a kind of 90s kind of theme brunch.
90s. Okay.
Like 90s, early 2000s type. So the type of music that they were playing, it was like early 90s music.
Yeah, R&B.
But you knew that your security plan prohibited this attire. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
They weren't supposed to wear hats, but
Or hoodies.
Any other questions from the commission?
Commissioner D'Antonio, just for your reference, the capacity for Le Souk is 180.
Thank you very much.
And that's to include the inside and the outside of Turnpike?
Yes, that's the total capacity, 180.
Okay, because it did look crowded, Commissioner D'Antonio. That was one of my first questions when I was watching the video.
Yes,
I said, wow, it looks very crowded in there.
That's the first thing that came to mind when I viewed it as well. It just seemed overcrowded.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I understand it is 180 all together, right? The patio and the inside. But what happens when you have people from the outside coming in and now you're over capacity inside?
That would be up to their staff. They would have to keep track of that.
Okay, because it did look very crowded. So I'm concerned that it was over capacity inside.
So we were taking deposits for the reservations, and our total deposits were 2,600, was $20 per person that we were charging at the door, and that was 130 people in total.
Right, but you understand what I'm saying, that if people, how are you managing the outside people and the inside people so that you're not over capacity inside?
Yeah, that was a little hard because I had some people, going inside towards the DJ booth and then walking in and out.
I think that is something that you need to keep in mind. God forbid there is a fire or something that happens and you're over capacity in the inside. That is always something to keep in the back of your head,
But like I said, this is something that is only done during the summer. This is not usually how the establishment is on the weekends. That was just because of the special event we have going on. But I will make sure that if I do have anything like that in the future, that I have a better security plan.
Can I say something?
And you are?
Can you turn your camera on, please?
Yep, 1 second. Hold on. 1 second, guys.
And I don't think this person has identified themselves for who they are. I don't know if they're speaking for LaSuque or not. It does say security LaSuque on the.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, that is one of my securities.
Can you guys hear me? I'm trying to turn my camera on. It's not letting me turn my camera on.
We'll need your camera on, sir.
Hold on. Does it show now?
Nope.
Can you guys see me?
Yep.
Can now.
How you doing? I'm Greg. I work for security at LaSuque. So I just wanted to touch base on as far as like keeping count of people that come in. We have one entrance and we use a clicker to keep track of who's coming in and who's leaving. And when people leave, there's one exit they leave through. So people come in one side, leave the other side.
You're freezing. You're freezing. We didn't hear.
Can you hear me?
That you said.
All right. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying is we have a clicker that we keep track of how many people come in. And we also have an exit where people leave. So we know who's leaving and who's coming in.
Okay. So my question to Genesis was, how I understand you have a clicker, but how are you using that clicker when people are going from the patio to the inside and from the inside to the patio to make sure that you're not overcrowded?
So there's only one entrance. So people that are coming in are accounted for. And when they're moving back and forth from inside to the patio, they're still accounted for unless they leave. There's not people coming in from the outside of the patio into the establishment. People come in through one entrance.
Okay, so once I'm in the patio, I can't come inside?
No, once you're in the patio, you can go outside, but you can only get through the patio from inside. You guys can go.
Get to the patio from where? I'm sorry, you froze again.
You can get so when you come into the souk, you come in through the main entrance. You don't come in through the patio. So the people that want to go outside into the patio, those people are already accounted for.
Okay, so you're not understanding my question. My question to Genesis is, how is she keeping track of people that are in the patio coming back inside to make sure that she is not going over the number?
Well, the number stays the same as long as they come in through the entrance.
There's a capacity for the inside and there's a capacity from the outside for the outside.
What he's trying to say.
I understand what he's trying to say, but he's not understanding my question or my concern. So if let's say your capacity inside is 100 and 80 outside, and then 40 of those people outside came inside, now you're over capacity because you're at 140 inside. You understand?
I get what you're saying.
Right. So how are you keeping track of, of how many people are coming inside so that you're not over capacity? Because our concern is that when we saw the video, it did look like it was overcrowded.
I got you. There's honestly, there's no way that we really keep track of people coming in and outside. There's only X amount of tables outside. And unless one of the servers seat them outside, they're not sitting outside.
Okay, thank you.
At what door is the clicker person?
Front
door to the patio or the door to the building?
The door to the building.
Oh. So they could just walk into the patio?
No, they have to go through the main door. There's no entrance for the patio.
Right, but that door that comes in from outside goes into the patio, and then you can proceed further into the building, correct? From that one door?
So there's the one door that you walk into the main entrance, and then there's another door off to the right that goes out to the patio. And there's another door at the back of the establishment that goes out to the patio as well.
So there's not one person at the main door.
There's
Yes.
two people.
Yes, there's two people at the main door.
And when people leave, do you reduce the count as they walk out?
Yes. And in situations where it's getting towards the capacity, we close the door and stop letting people in.
Any other questions?
Here, just help me understand. So somebody comes into the establishment, they go out to the patio. If they were to leave the establishment, do they have to come back into the establishment and back out the front door, or is there's no door from the patio out to the street?
There's a fire exit door in the back of the premises, and there's a gate at the front of the patio, but the gate is closed, and when they leave, they have to come back through the front door.
So there's no exit from the patio from the street then, other than
No.
so nobody goes through the fire door, nobody goes through the gate.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I say that we go into discussion.
Second.
Okay. Do I roll call for discussion?
Yeah.
Commissioner
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes.
Okay. So we have 5 proposed violations from the police department, and our first job is to discuss these and whether we agree on any or all of them. I think Barry has pretty much laid out the rationale for each one of these violations. So does anyone feel that there should be less than 5? Are there any of these that you don't agree with? I guess we could go one by one if you want. Violation number 1, employees not aware of regulation allowing police officers to enter the licensed premise. What has been presented to us is that the owner and manager were elsewhere, and these people greeting the police officers at the door were not employees, they were family friends, although one appears to be the DJ and got paid for that evening. So I would have to say that they are employees, and they should not have been representing, especially after a disturbance like that. There should be nobody near a door representing the business other than the owner or manager of record. So
Agree.
I would say the first violation is a violation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Move on. 2, violation of security plan, failure to enforce strict dress code. That was quite obvious from the video, and they have admitted that it was some sort of special night that was in violation of their own dress code. So I would say that that's a violation.
That's also a violation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 3, violation of security plan, failure to call police in a timely manner. I watched the interior camera, and the very crowded area seemed to escalate slowly from guys kind of arguing, pointing at each other, to much more heated conversation, to the point where fists were thrown, and that seemed to go on for quite a while. And Barry has matched the cameras up and said it is over 3 minutes that before police were called from that point in the camera, time on the camera. And what a good licensee should do is, as soon as a voice is raised, attention should be brought to that area and quickly quelled with the threat of calling the police. If you do not calm down, we're going to call the police. And we have told all of our licensees, call, and in abundance of caution, call. You will never be penalized for calling the police. You'll be penalized for not calling the police. And in this instance, it seemed like the time dragged quite a while before police were summoned. So does anyone disagree with that violation? No. Okay, there's 3. Number 4, violation of the rules and regs, failure to notify the police department immediately or disturbance on the premises. So the 3rd one is a violation of their own security plan, and this is a violation of the Springfield's License Commission's rules and regulations. So not only are they not abiding by their very own security plan, they're not abiding by our rules and regulations. Do we see another violation there? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And number 5, hindering police investigation. I saw both the owner and the manager and people they claim were family friends all saying to police officers, nothing happened inside, it all happened outside, when quite clearly by that the interior camera, it definitely happened inside. Someone had a beer bottle or a bottle smashed over their head, and that person was bleeding profusely and will probably be scarred for life as a result of that. So to say, even though they were, in addition to trying to tell a police officer they need a warrant to enter the building, to be all of them in unison saying repeatedly, nothing happened inside, it all happened outside, was definitely not true. because there was smashed glass and blood all over the floor. Something clearly happened inside. So does anyone feel that that last violation is not genuine, or do we agree with the fifth one?
Agree.
We agree.
Agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 5 violations, and so we have found all 5 violations, and now the penalty.
Commissioner
According to our
Signature.
rules and regulations.
I feel like everything I said was for no reason.
No, you
like
can't.
you guys didn't even
We're
hear
in
my side of the
deliberations now,
story.
Genesis.
Sorry.
Oh,
Commissioner Signature, I think you need a motion with regards to adopt them all. I know there was discussion and everyone agreed to it.
All right.
But
I agree. Make a motion to find 5 violations as proposed by the Springfield Police Department. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes.
Okay. So now the penalty, proposed penalty for these violations. We have a progressive discipline policy, which says that we can propose up to a 5-day suspension at the first violation. And there's 5 violations here, first occurrence. So the discussion should be how many days, if any, we would like to suspend the license for these violations.
Can I just ask a question? We're in a pre-hearing conference, is correct?
That's correct.
Do we make the penalty in the final hearing, or
No.
we can do this at the pre-hearing?
We make a penalty proposal now, and they can agree or disagree with it. And if they disagree,
that's what I was asking. Did they stipulate to all of the violations that we've indicated?
I don't think they necessarily need to at this point stipulate to the violation, but we move to the next phase, which is that we'll propose a agreement. If they stipulate to the penalty, then I think that resolves both issues.
I just think that we're a little premature in the violations. I think we're missing, one of the final steps.
Well, let me read it to you. So it says a pre-hearing conference is held between the licensee and the license commission following a written violation notice issued by the license commission to the licensee for an incident. During this phase, the commissioner set forth the violations in question, and the licensee has the opportunity to stipulate to the underlying charges and negotiate discipline for the violation with the license commission. If the licensee is unable to reach an agreement with the license commission for the discipline, the licensee may request a final hearing and underlying violations, which shall be taken de novo. The local licensing authority reserves the right to expedite any matter which she deems to be an immediate threat to the public safety of the scheduling the violation for the final hearing forthwith, and denying the licensee the opportunity for a pre-hearing conference.
And that's my position, that we didn't give it an opportunity to stipulate the violations.
Understood. Chair Espinosa, I think we could ask if they stipulate to the violation.
The Genesis, do you stipulate to the violations that you heard 1 through 5?
So there are 2 of the violations that I don't agree with, and is failure to call the police in a timely manner. Like I said, when I noticed there was a disturbance, I called the police and I reported what I saw. I wasn't aware of what's going on outside, so I feel like I'm being punished for something that I had no control over. That's 1. And then number 2, I was not hiding anything from the police. Like I said, everybody said it was outside because it was in the patio. Yes, I do understand that the patio is part of the premises, but outside is outside. If I'm explaining myself right. Patio is outside. I know it's still part of Lesuc, but whoever said that it was outside is because they weren't inside the building.
So you disagree?
I disagree with those two.
Okay. Attorney Poe?
So I'm just making sure I'm understanding. So you would stipulate to violation 1, violation 2, and violation 4. Is that correct?
So let me see. Not aware of regulation. Okay, so yes, number 1 as well, because the person that the police officer spoke to, that I wasn't even aware they were speaking to the police when the police got there. They're not employees. Yes, I had 2 of the DJs there, but to my understanding, they have to speak with the manager, not any other person.
So you're not stipulating to number 1?
So number 1, number 3, failure to call the police in a timely manner and hindering police investigation, misleading statements to the police officers.
So you're stipulating to number 2, violation of the security plan to enforce a strict dress code. And you would stipulate to number 3, which is a violation of the City of Springfield Rules and Regulations, Section 2.17, subsection M, for failure to notify the Springfield Police Department immediately of a disturbance upon the licensed premises.
So they all sound like they're saying the same thing. They just making it a different violation for some reason. So the first one is the warrant one. That one I don't stipulate to it. The dress code, I agree. I did not enforce that. I called the police as soon as I saw there was an altercation.
So I think what you're saying is the only matter that you're stipulating to is the violation of your security plan for the strict dress code.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So based on that, Chair Espinosa, it looks like we do not have an agreement on the only thing we do have an agreement on is the only thing that they're stipulating to is that they violated the security plan for a dress code. Since there's no stipulation, I think we would have to have a final hearing on the rest of the violation 1, 3, 4, and 5. And the commission can make a determination what they want to do with violation number 2.
I make a motion, we go to a final hearing.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. So Genesis, we're just gonna go into we're gonna go to a final hearing. Attorney Poe, do you how much time, Barry, how much time do you think you're going to need to make this happen for a final hearing?
I mean, I would say 2 weeks. I mean, this has gone on long enough. It's been a long time. This is getting dragged out for no reason. It's all on video. I mean, the officers will be there, but quite frankly, they really don't even have to be. They're on video. Everything's on video.
So I think the proposal is the next meeting, which is October 25.
Right.
That's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My question, Attorney Poe, basically, since we've already seen all of the evidence through the video, I don't think the police officers need to attend the next hearing. If it's anything, the licensee, if they're going to have representation. But otherwise, I think we've seen all the evidence.
That's true, but they're entitled to the due process, and it says.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, typically, I don't mean to interrupt here, but typically in a pre-hearing, there are no witnesses other than the officer and them. You guys determine if you believe there was a violation, which you did, and then you propose a sanction, and they agree to it or they don't agree to it. And if they don't, it goes to a final hearing. I'm not sure. I mean, I've never heard of, if they stipulate, that's something they do at the very beginning. If they show up and say, yeah, we screwed up, that's a stipulation. It's not after you've had an hour-long discussion, you ask them if they agree. Clearly, they don't agree. That we made that clear from the beginning. So I'm not sure if there's some confusion amongst the board, but this is the first time I've ever heard about asking a licensee if they stipulate after you've already voted 5-0 for all 5 violations. I mean, typically you propose a penalty and they either say, we'll take it, or they say, no, we'll go to a final hearing, and then they can have their witnesses. That's typically how it works. And I hope I'm not out of line, but I just feel like I'm not sure where the confusion came in. I've never ever heard a licensee ask if they stipulate to a violation after an hour of talking. If you stipulate, you do that in the first 2 minutes, and then you move on to the penalty phase. And you either and even then they can say, no, we don't accept that penalty. We'll go to a final hearing. That's my understanding. And that's the way it's been done. I've been doing this for 8 years. I just want to clarify that.
You're correct.
I think you make a good solution. I think that's right. We should have stipulated at the beginning. Yeah. Right. Ask for stipulation at the beginning. Right.
Right.
That's correct.
Yep, I agree.
Attorney Poe, how do we move forward?
We will set a final pre-hearing date for October 25th, which is our next commission meeting.
I make a motion that we continue to move to a final hearing on October 25th, 2023 for Lusuk Hookah for the incident of September 3rd, 2023.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, Genesis, we'll see you back here October 25th.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You as well. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Section 77 hearing. We have the hookah factory located at 296 Cooley Street, Asad Awam. Status of license. Is there anybody here? Oh, well, hookah was, I believe,
we were represented by Attorney Kelly, and he asked us to continue that matter to the next hearing.
And I make a motion to continue the Section 77 final hearing for hookah factory located at 296 Cooley Street, Asad Awam, on the status of license. Is there a second?
Until November 8th.
Until November 8th.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Second one is Aquarius. Section 77 hearing for Aquarius located at 1217 State Street. Anybody here for Aquarius? I don't see Freddie. I make a motion to continue the Section 77 hearing to October 25th for Aquarius located at 1217 State Street. Freddie Venegas, manager.
Second.
Is there a second? Thank you. Donovan Irish Pub located at 1655. I'm sorry.
You didn't call the vote. Yes.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Thank
Commissioner
you,
Espinosa,
Commissioner
did that go to October 25 or did that go to November 8th?
25. I would say.
Yes, in 2 weeks. Okay, Donovan Irish Pub located at 1655 Boston Road. Anybody here for Donovan Pub?
Yes.
We are.
Very patiently waiting.
Yes. Busy night for you.
Yes. So what's going on with your license? What is your plan?
We were just going to let it run out for the year since with the mall being closed and everything, we have a new location. Unfortunately, it's in Holyoke, not in the city of Springfield. We weren't able to find anything in Springfield, but we are moving to Holyoke. We got approved by the Commonwealth for the liquor license in Holyoke. So we will not be needing the liquor license in Springfield anymore.
Okay.
So you're not renewing that license?
No, we are not.
Okay.
Is there something we have to do with that, or does it just expire at the end of the year?
You can surrender it.
Okay.
Is that what you want to do?
We get prorated for the non-usage time.
No.
We knew the answer to that.
You wish.
I'm not sure whether we have to. If we can cancel it because you're not using it, you're not in the city, right? So I would make a motion to cancel the license for Donovan's Irish Pub located at 1655 Boston Road. Do I hear a second?
There a second?
What was that again, Peter? Could you read it one more time?
Make a motion to cancel the license for Donovan's Irish Pub located at 1655 Boston Road.
Second.
Commissioner Kane?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Singletary?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes.
And now you don't have to do anything. Sorry to see you go.
We do want to say thank you for everything for providing us the opportunity to have the license in Springfield for the past 8 years, and we do appreciate it.
Yes, we remember. We remember quite well, Mr. Signator, when we went before you the first time. You said, "Let's offer this couple the American dream," and we appreciate that. And we're sorry to be leaving Springfield.
And you have one of my favorite names, Pirate Queen. Sorry to see you go. How's everything working out over there?
It is. We're making progress. We're not open yet. We hope to be open by the end of the month. Okay. We keep kind of running into different things that pop up that we need to correct and fix before we open. Okay. But we pretty much gutted the first floor and we're building a new bar. So we do hope by the time it is open, you'll come and visit us. I know it's a little farther away, but come check us out at least, and you'll see hopefully we continue the name as we did here.
Great. Okay. Thank you for coming and being patient.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Mardi Gras located at 87-91 Taylor Street. Sherry, anybody here for Mardi Gras?
That was Attorney Kelly notified the office today that that Mardi Gras intends to surrender their license.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the surrender of the license for Mardi Gras. I didn't think I'd ever be saying this. At 8791 Taylor Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Kane?
Yes.
Commissioner Singletary?
Historically, yes.
Commissioner D'Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay. Palate. Palate located at 8 Tempe Road. Jose Hernandez, manager of record. Jose has been patiently waiting too.
How you guys doing?
How are you?
Good.
So what's going on, Jose? What are you doing?
I don't know. They told me I have to be here. I wasn't sure I have to be here.
Are you?
So you closed?
I'm sorry?
you closed your restaurant, you
No,
sold
no,
it?
no, no. No, 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 no. I closed to change some stuff inside. It's not sold. It's everything's still under my name. It's still pallet. We just changed the cuisine and stuff like that for right now. That's what we're doing.
Are you
So it's
open now?
yeah.
You're open now.
Yes.
Okay. Anytime a licensee closed, they should notify the license commission. I'm going to be closed for X number of weeks in order to make.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Because we're getting calls saying what happened to pallet.
No, we open.
Are you changing your DBA?
No.
No. So you're going to reopen as pallet.
Pallet, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Have a nice night.
And don't forget your renewal.
Of course not.
Of course
We're
not.
getting ready for that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Next item is Cozy Cafe. 666 State Street. I don't see Ms. Boynton here. So I make a motion to continue Cozy Cafe Section 77 final hearing to October 25th.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa? Yes. Okay. So we have.
Did we do Aquarius?
Yes.
Yes.
We're
continued it to October 25.
We continued it.
Okay.
So Hookah, we continue. Aquarius, we continued, and Cozy Cafe, we continued.
All right.
Okay.
3 ironed out at least.
Right.
Right.
Okay, we have administrative review of incident reports. And the first one is the zone for of September 2nd, 2023. Did everybody have an opportunity to read the report?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any questions for Officer Delamater? No.
Sounded like this was just an argument on the street after closing.
Right.
Am I minimalizing that, Barry, or?
No, it was a small fight. The officers that were working the late night entertainment detail were already there. They assisted the staff and they dispersed the crowd. There were no further issues.
Okay. I make a motion to take no action for the zone incident of September 2nd, 2023.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Next one is Christopher Package Store for incident of September 17, 2023. This one's a little more serious, where a male told the officers that the store clerk put a firearm that he had retrieved from his vehicle into his waistband, but he never pointed the firearm to the person calling.
I believe the person calling was refused service.
Yes.
He was intoxicated.
Okay. I make a motion to take no action for the Christopher Package Store incident of September 17, 2023.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Next is Fuego Sports Bar for an incident of September 16, 2023. This one well, there was an incident inside a female who was refusing to leave and intoxicated. But the police did notice that they were using hookahs, and although they said they did have a permit, once they checked with the Department of Revenue and Smoking Bar permit, it revealed that Fuego does not have a permit for hookah. So pre-hearing.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I make a motion that we move the Fuego Sports Bar incident on September 16 to a pre-hearing conference.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Okay, the last one is Sophia's Pizza for incident of September 10th, 2023. Bartender called the police after a female patron threw a bottle towards his head. He was able to get out of the way and was not injured. And police were able to identify the female suspect. So I make a motion to take no action.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes.
I thought I was seeing things there with a violation for Sophia's. I
Right.
don't recall. Like, this was new.
Right.
Espinosa, just wanted to be clear. Fuego's is for a pre-hearing conference, not an informational. Is that correct?
Oh, for pre-hearing, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
I stand corrected. Thank you.
No, you're correct. You said pre-hearing. You did not want to information.
No, pre-hearing. Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Attorney Poe, that you need to touch up on? No?
No, just check your emails. You're going to be getting some information about a few things we talked about in the past meetings with regards to BYOB and the seasonal licenses.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. I make a motion to adjourn at 7:42 p.m.
Second.
Commissioner Cade?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo Antonio?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramirez?
Yes.
Commissioner Espinosa, yes. Good night, everyone.